Certified public accountants across the Pacific Northwest report an unprecedented surge in rush filings as families race to restructure assets before the new fiscal quarter takes full legal effect. Data suggests that high taxes and a burdensome regulatory environment are pushing high earners towards states like Nevada, Texas, and Florida, eroding the local economic foundation. Senate Democrats recently passed a controversial new law under Senate Bill 6346, establishing a 9.9% tax on personal income exceeding $1 million across the state. Commonly described by supporters as a millionaire's tax, critics argue it effectively establishes a state income tax for the very first time in modern Washington history. Before the tax passed, the Tax Foundation warned that this policy yields a top rate of 18.037% on wage income and vesting restricted stock units. This combined tax rate on wages and vesting restricted stock units in Seattle becomes the highest rate in the entire country, putting immense pressure on tech workers. During an interview on Talk Radio 570 KVI, longtime Seattle entrepreneur Jesse Proudman said the reaction from the local tech community has been swift and decisive. Proudman stated that everybody is on their way out, describing a growing departure of founders, investors, and high-earning technology professionals from Washington state. Proudman noted that a close friend, Foundation's Workspace founder Aviel Ginsberg, began sounding alarms about the rapid exodus happening across Seattle's startup ecosystem. Reflecting on discussions within his community, Proudman realized that so many people he knows and respects have already left the region or are actively planning their exit. The timing of this tax could not be worse for Washington's tech economy, which is already undergoing massive disruption due to the rapid rise of artificial intelligence. Because high-earning professionals and founders are highly mobile, Proudman warned they will simply relocate rather than sit still and absorb the new state tax burden. Several destinations are emerging as popular alternatives for departing leaders, including Austin, Miami, Nashville, and Las Vegas, all located in states without personal income taxes. Recent research highlights this domestic shift, with major examples like Fisher Investments moving corporate operations from Washington to Texas to escape burdensome state taxes. Seattle Socialist Mayor Katie Wilson dismissed concerns about wealthy residents fleeing Washington, publicly offering a cheerful wave and saying bye with a laugh. Wilson's remarks came during an April 16th discussion about new progressive policies as part of the Seattle University Conversations series, hosted before a progressive audience. Asked about companies leaving over escalating tax burdens, King County Executive Gurmay Zahile acknowledged that everything is a trade-off and taxes influence corporate decisions. Illustrating this ongoing corporate flight, businessman Mark Barros announced he has officially left Washington and is taking his Seattle-based company with him. Reports from groups like the Downtown Seattle Association claim that soaring municipal taxes are actively driving out local businesses and eroding economic vitality. New data compiled by the Workforce Development Council of Seattle-King County reveals a significant economic restructuring, reshaping the regional labor force. Job growth is actively shifting away from the tech industry, which was once seen as the unstoppable economic engine of the entire Pacific Northwest region. While healthcare and frontline services see hiring gains, openings for software engineers have experienced the steepest drop, plunging 56% recently. Jeremy Warren, Director of Impact at the Council, noted that engineering postings have decreased by double digits over the last 30 to 60 days. Major employers, including Google, Zillow, and Salesforce, are eliminating more jobs in Washington state, accelerating the corporate retreat from the Seattle area. The Washington State Employment Security Department received a warning notice showing Salesforce will permanently lay off 59 workers in Seattle and Bellevue. According to the official filings submitted to state regulators, these permanent workforce reductions across Seattle and Bellevue are scheduled to begin on October 5th. In King County, the unemployment rate hovered close to 5% during the second quarter, offset temporarily by hiring surges in healthcare and services. Reflecting this labor market pivot, job openings for truck drivers spiked 231% over the past month, while security guard openings jumped 146%. Some frontline service growth can be attributed to the World Cup, leaving analysts waiting to see how much of this temporary hiring mix shift will last. Meanwhile, the steady drumbeat of tech layoffs continued across the quarter, with major reductions reported at corporate giants like Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta. Government labor statistics show that Washington state tech layoffs currently rank as the second highest in the entire country, intensifying regional economic anxiety. Critics point out that Seattle's Jumpstart tax on jobs has employers leaping across Lake Washington to relocate workers and operations to the east side. Industry observers warn that bills seeking to impose similar taxes statewide will force more employers to move their operations to friendlier tax and regulatory climates. With downtown storefronts struggling and high-value employers downsizing, local business leaders argue that Seattle has lost a significant portion of its economic mojo. As wealth and income increasingly migrate toward states with zero personal income tax, Pacific Northwest policymakers face mounting scrutiny over fiscal strategies. Sunbelt states continue to capitalize on this friction, drawing top entrepreneurs and venture-backed startups away from traditional Pacific Northwest strongholds. Nevada has emerged as another primary beneficiary, offering favorable corporate structures and zero state income tax to departing tech fortunes and executives. Texas remains a dominant destination for firms seeking to escape West Coast regulatory overreach and high state-level tax obligations on executive compensation. Early-stage startup founders are increasingly choosing to incorporate and establish their primary headquarters outside of Washington state from day one. The widespread normalization of remote work infrastructure has enabled software engineers and tech managers to execute seamless relocations without losing their jobs. Commercial real estate vacancies continue to climb across downtown Seattle, reflecting the long-term impact of corporate downsizing and remote hybrid models. These empty office spaces stand as physical reminders of a shifting economic tide as major tenants surrender square footage to cut overhead costs. Municipal leaders are beginning to express private concerns that steady erosion of the high-income tax base could eventually strain city and state budgets. The ongoing friction illustrates a broader national clash between aggressive progressive municipal taxation and the ruthless economic mobility of digital capital. Venture capitalists and angel investors report growing hesitation to fund early-stage Washington startups facing unpredictable tax and regulatory environments. Coupled with existing capital gains levies, the new income tax structure adds layers of financial friction that deter long-term venture investments locally. Wealth management firms in Seattle report an unprecedented surge in client requests for multi-state residency planning and asset restructuring advice. Regional chambers of commerce continue to publish urgent warnings regarding Washington state's declining ranking in national business competitiveness indexes. State lawmakers remain sharply divided over whether these policy changes represent necessary wealth redistribution or a self-inflicted wound to the economy. University engineering talent pipelines in the Pacific Northwest now face increased competition from Sunbelt institutions cultivating local tech ecosystems. Many software developers are willingly trading rainy Pacific Northwest winters for warmer southern climates, where their compensation stretches significantly further. Venture capital firms that once anchored themselves firmly in Seattle are establishing satellite offices in Texas and Florida to stay close to relocated portfolio founders. The traditional centralization of American tech innovation in coastal enclaves is rapidly giving way to a decentralized network of lower-tax regional hubs. Strict local regulations compound the financial deterrence of the new tax code, creating an environment where founders feel unwelcome and overregulated. high-earning workers increasingly question the tangible return on investment for their substantial tax contributions amidst growing urban infrastructure challenges. Economic analysts continue tracking these domestic migration pattern shifts to measure the long-term impact on state tax receipts and regional demographics. The ultimate trajectory of Washington's renowned technology sector now hangs in the balance as policymakers weigh the consequences of continued talent flight. Ultimately, state leaders are being forced to reckon with the unyielding reality of mobile capital in an increasingly competitive national economic landscape. As Seattle navigates this massive economic restructuring, the collision between progressive taxation and tech mobility demonstrates the profound limits of regional fiscal policy. When tax burdens reach historic highs, high-earning innovators will vote with their feet, reshaping the geography of American technology for years to come. If you want to stay updated on how tax policy and economic shifts impact the tech industry, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth investigative reports.